What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Sports Talk. Today, of course, you got me, Respawn Granted, as your host. My co-host, as always, Real Batman. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. So today we're gonna wrap up or kind of do a quick summary of Week 5 in the NFL. And oh boy, was it an exciting week? Not really.
Not really. No.
Not really. And speaking of excitement or lack of, we're gonna start off with a Thursday game, which was Indy versus Denver, which actually went into overtime. Indy ended up winning that game 12-9. This was the most boring game I've ever seen in my life. This was absolute garbage. Even the Denver fans in Denver left when they went into overtime. What are your thoughts on this game, dude?
The Broncos are in trouble. I mean, they got rid of Teddy Bridgewater, who's now in Miami, and they said that, this is Russell Wilson. Isn't this pretty much the same team that Teddy had? I mean, I'm pretty sure they added some players, but
right.
They don't look good, man. Russell Wilson don't look like he's got the passion for the game anymore, man. And if that's the case, I mean, that's not where you wanted to go, you should have said that's not where you wanted to go, man. I don't know. And the Colts.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, the Colts are what they are. I mean,
yeah.
It is what it is. It was a bad game.
I was going to say, did you hear about I forgot what wide receiver was, but one of the wide receivers on the Broncos actually said he wants to leave and get traded to a team where the quarterback can actually, something like he can hit a wide open receiver for a game winner. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that. I can't remember which one it was, but
I can't either. But it's just the point. You know what I mean? They're actually, I don't know. So anyway, enough of that boring game. We're jumping over to the this game was actually pretty good. This was actually the London game, the Giants versus the Green Bay Packers. The Giants ended up winning this game 27-22. Now, Real Batman, I got to ask you, at what point do we give either the Giants credit for winning the way they are? I think they're 4-1 right now, or is it more Aaron Rodgers and the Packers just not putting up this year? What do you think, man?
I think it's 50-50. I think it's the Packers Aaron Rodgers don't look like Aaron Rodgers. And I think the Giants are a pretty well coached team and they're playing above their heads. But I think the biggest thing with the Giants is as long as this kid Saquon Barkley can stay healthy at running back, with the defense they have and Daniel Jones just not turning the ball over, they'll have a chance to win every game. So they're a well coached team, but the Packers, Aaron Rodgers, man. I mean, there was a lot of stuff out there where he might retire, he doesn't want to play, or he wanted to get traded. You should have picked one or the other because it just doesn't look like he wants to play there anymore.
Yeah. And this is also a classic case of one guy can't do everything by himself. So he took that huge contract, forced the Packers' hand to get rid of guys like Adams, and there you go. Now he has to live with that.
Yep.
So on to the next game. This one was Pittsburgh versus Buffalo. Buffalo ended up winning this one 38-3. Now, Buffalo started twice in their own 5 yards or less, and they were still able to win the way they did. I mean, let me tell you something, man. I felt like when I was watching this, I felt like Buffalo was when I play Madden on rookie mode and just destroying the Pittsburgh Steelers. What was this? Pittsburgh, I know Pittsburgh isn't the greatest team, but this looked like Josh Allen could do no wrong, and just it looked like Madden on rookie mode. Thoughts?
I think Pittsburgh is in rebuild mode. They have a good defense, but when your defense is out on the field more than your offense by a lot, that's what ends up happening, dude. I mean, I don't care how good your defense is. If you don't have a pulse on offense and your offense can't move the ball, it's going to happen. I mean, that kid, Kenny Pickett, threw for 327 yards. Threw 52 freaking times, man.
Yeah, threw a lot.
But you only have 3 points to show for it, which means it might have been a lot of garbage yards when they were already getting blown out. So I don't know, man. I didn't really watch all these games. I watched some highlights. The Steelers are just a bad team. They have a good defense, but everything else is just not good.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's defense. I mean, you could tell they were tired. They were letting up wide open wideouts and passes. Like I said, it looked like Madden on rookie mode, man.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna jump over to the next game. We have the LA Chargers versus the Cleveland Browns. LA ended up winning this one 30-28. But let me tell you something. This was a good game, man. I mean, Cleveland started off 14-0. Both teams ran the ball extremely well with both of their running backs. So that's 4 running backs that ran really well in this game. And Cleveland, at the end of the game, twice had the chance to win this game. They what's his name? Brissett threw a pick in the end zone with about a little over 2 minutes to go. Then the Cleveland defense stops the Chargers, and the offense comes down the field only to miss a field goal. So that's twice they could have won this game, dude. Thoughts?
Field goal kickers this year are becoming a nuisance, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
They're either losing games when they should be winning them, especially when they're chip shots, or they're deflating teams that are already deflated, and they just give up and just don't even want to play anymore. But that's not an excuse. But this is what I said about Herbert. For all the love he gets, and again, this kid is talented. I want to make this clear on a very serious note. I love Justin Herbert. I think he's going to be an excellent quarterback in this league. But again, a game that he should have lost. Yeah. And they're talking about it all over ESPN and the Shyster networks. Like, the Chargers. The Browns should have won this game. The field goal kicker just couldn't get the job done. Yeah. Again.
Yeah, it's insane. But that was actually a very exciting game to watch. Then the next game, which I didn't see this coming. Houston at Jacksonville. Houston ended up winning this game 13-6. Well, now Houston shows up to play. I don't know, man. Don't bet any money on these football games this year. Let's just say that. Any thoughts on this one, dude?
This is why they say anybody can win on any given Sunday.
Yep.
If you overlook an opponent, you will be embarrassed. Take it from me, you will get embarrassed. So, yeah, I mean, the Jaguars, and this is what I said when we talked about 2 episodes ago. New coach in Jacksonville. They have a lot of good young talent there, but a lot of it's going to depend on Trevor Lawrence and his development as the season goes on. He didn't play well in this game, and the coach still believes in him and is backing him up as he should in public.
Of course, yeah.
But this is going to be a key for the Jacksonville Jaguars going down the stretch here. Can Trevor Lawrence put it together? Look, in a quarterback-happy league, teams get happy feet and they move on from quarterbacks really quick. So this kid better either get it or they will move on.
Agreed. Okay, so going on to the next game, we have Chicago at Minnesota. Minnesota ended up winning this game 29-22. And let me tell you something. Cousins looked really good in this game, dude, for most of it.
Like I said, he's a good quarterback. He starts off his seasons slow, sometimes the games, but then as the season goes on, he gets better. But again, sometimes, with the exception of this year, because they're 4-1 right now, usually right now they're like 2-4 or 1-4 but this year, this might be the year for them where they finally get into the playoffs and make some noise because they're 4-1. Yep. The Packers and Aaron Rodgers look human. So if there was ever a time for Kirk Cousins and the Vikings to take advantage, it would be this year. This is the year to do it, man. This is the year to do it. And they look like they might be the real deal. They got a good defense. Delvin Cook's the real deal at running back. They got some young receivers there. They got some weapons to throw to. They're a formidable opponent. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with as the season goes on.
Yep. Now, granted, it was against Chicago, but it's still a solid defensive team.
Hey, look, dude, the Bears have a good defense. They have a pretty good running game. The quarterback played decent in this game. Justin Fields looks like he's getting a little bit more comfortable with each game. 208 yards, quarterback rating of 118, 1 touchdown, no picks. So he looks to be getting a little bit more comfortable. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Okay. And then we're jumping on to the next game, which this was another one. I have no words for this game. Detroit versus New England. New England wins this game 29-0. This Detroit team last week put up almost 50 points. And now against a third-string quarterback. I mean, granted, you did say last week that this defense can't stop a nosebleed. Clearly, you're right. So, what's any thoughts on this game? I got none.
They had the highest scoring offense going into this game, but they also had the worst defense going into this game in terms of points scored and points allowed.
Yep.
This is just a classic case of why Bill Belichick's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He should be there already. I don't care if he's still coaching. As a Dolphins fan, I don't care. I'm going to say it. Like we joke around cheating, all that shit. Look, this guy is proving it to you right now how good of a coach this guy is. He's got a rookie, third string quarterback that he took the Packers to overtime with and could have won, came out, and granted the kid only threw 21 times, but that's what good coaches do. They realized, look, this kid's you're not going to throw 30 times with this kid. We're going to run the ball. We're going to play good defense. And he's just going to make the throws when he has to. And that's it. And just don't turn it over, which he did have an interception. But look, the kid played well overall. They didn't make him do things that he's not capable of doing. And that's what good coaches do.
Exactly. Well, regardless, they end up running away with a win in that game.
Yep.
So
and
now
what did we say last week? The Patriots are not as bad as people think. When Mac Jones comes back, man, they're the real deal.
I mean, their defense definitely did good enough to stop that high-powered offense. So there you go. Yep. Now we're going to jump over to the next game. We had Seattle versus New Orleans. New Orleans ended up winning this game 39-32. Once again, New Orleans was playing with
Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton, thank you. And 2 weeks in a row, they looked pretty good. So what are your thoughts on that one?
Minimizing turnovers. Jameis Winston is a turnover machine at quarterback, and they're running the ball. But that kid, Tyson Hill, who was supposed to be a quarterback, but now is a quarterback / running back / receiver. He's kind of like that do-it-all type of guy. That dude, he won this game for the Saints. It was Andy Dalton played well. He played within himself, but Tyson Hill was the star of this game. He did everything. 9 carries for 112 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. He threw for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And what did he do? Receiving? Well, I think that was it. But I mean, I think that's quite enough already right there, dude.
Yeah. I would say so. And it was enough to win. So there you go, man. High score.
But I will say really quick before we move on.
Yeah.
Geno Smith is showing me something here with Seattle, dude.
Yeah. He actually played pretty well this game too.
Yeah. He's having a really good season so far, but we'll see if he can continue it.
Yeah. So the next game, I don't know if you want to skip it. It's your Dolphins versus the Jets. Probably skip it to the end, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we'll do our 2 teams at the end. The next game after that, we had Atlanta versus Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay won this one barely, 21-15. Once again, veteran quarterback, just like Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I expected more points. What about you?
Yeah, I guess you could say Tom Brady doesn't look like he has the same passion. Yeah, you're going to say, well, he threw for 351 yards. He had a quarterback rating of 93.
Yeah.
He got a
solid.
It was, I mean, it's better than solid, but I mean, the call there at the end of the game is creating quite a stir in the NFL. Yeah. And if the NFL, I'm going to say this real quick.
Yep.
If the NFL thinks they're too big to fail, they're not. Look at the NBA. Just look at the NBA. You're not. And if you don't clean this mess up, you're going to be, I mean, your ratings are already down.
Yeah.
There's a lot of outrage for certain games this weekend. And I think fans have every right to be outraged. So unless you're a superstar, if your team has a superstar quarterback, you're golden. If you don't, man, you're on the opposite end of the, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You're in big trouble. You're in big trouble.
Yep.
All right. So from there, we're going to jump over to Tennessee versus Washington. Tennessee ended up winning this game 21-17. Any thoughts on this game?
Brian Hill just managed the game, threw 481 yards. Mm-hmm. Derrick Henry was asked to do a lot again. I still think this guy's going to be dead by middle of the season, dude. I know he's a beast and he looks like he's in shape, but I don't know. I mean, Washington is just not very good. I mean, Carson Wentz played all right, but look, they're not very good. It's a win. You take it. Tennessee's 3-2, and we talked about this. They're going to be there because Tannehill's not that bad, even though he lost all those receivers. They have a good defense. They have a good running game. Tannehill's not that bad.
Yep.
And if they could pick up a receiver at the trade deadline, they're going to be a tough out.
Well, I mean, think of it this way. I mean, New Orleans kind of proved that when they went from Winston to Andy Dalton, do less mistakes, and you end up winning the game.
Yep.
Okay, so then the next game, it's the Niners in Carolina. We're going to push that one to the back. So we're going to go do Philadelphia versus Arizona. Philadelphia ended up winning this one 20-17. Jalen Hurts with 2 rushing touchdowns in the first half. They led the game 14-0, and the Cardinals had a chance to tie the game at the end, but once again, missed field goal blew the game for them. 2 games in a row right there, missed field goals at the very, very end, and the kickers couldn't do it, man. Thoughts?
Can NFL teams find field goal kickers anymore?
We're going to start drafting soccer kickers, man.
Right? Give Arizona credit. They battled back. I'll give Kyler Murray some credit. He battled back, but look, the Eagles are 5-0. Moving on. I mean, this was probably the biggest challenge based on Arizona's record last year so far this year, really. They squeaked it out. It is what it is. They got a cushy schedule. I've already made that clear, and we'll see what happens as the season goes on. But they are 5-0. You can't take that away from them.
That's it. And the thing is, they don't pick their schedule, man. They just play it. So there you go. 5-0. Good for them. Sure
as hell don't, but the NFL picks it good, doesn't it?
All right. So we're going to jump to the next game. We got Dallas versus the LA Rams. Dallas ended up winning this game 22-10. But let me tell you something. Believe it or not, both quarterbacks struggled big time in this game. This was definitely a defensive struggle game. And Dallas in particular, Armstrong, blocked the punt and sacked for a touchdown. So big moves on defense for both sides. So what are your thoughts on this game?
I'm going to say the 49ers have the best defense, but Dallas and Buffalo, when they're healthy, are right there with the 49ers. The Cowboys have a legit defense. They were right on the cusp last year. They made some additions to this defense. They're legit. And please tell me you watch some of this baloney on ESP Blow Network over there, where they're actually calling for the Cowboys to potentially just keep Cooper Rush in because you're winning games and leave. Yeah. Come on, man. Can we not? Dak Prescott is a Pro Bowl quarterback. Cooper Rush is doing a nice job, but come on, man. Dak Prescott's the man when he comes back and he's ready to play. What this tells me, though, if McCarthy has any scruples, when he comes back, you don't have to put everything on Dak Prescott's shoulders. You have a defense that can win games for you. You can run the ball, and Dak Prescott's more than a game manager, but save him for the end of the year when it really matters, which is the end of the last quarter of the games. Yeah. And if you get into the playoffs, save Dak Prescott, keep him healthy, keep him upright, run the ball. You have a great defense. The Cowboys are legit.
Yeah, the Cowboys have 2 very good running backs. They're pretty solid with Ezekiel Elliott and what's his name, Poland, right?
Pollard.
There you go. Thank you. And this right here proves that the team can be balanced. But what concerns me is when Prescott comes back, I have a feeling they're gonna just give him the ball and just have him do things that they're not doing right now, and then that's gonna screw up their
they shouldn't. And they shouldn't. When that right now, they should be talking to Dak and saying, dude, we know you're a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. We know that if the game is on the line and we need you to drive the ball, you're gonna get the job done. But when you come back, this is what we're gonna do going forward. We're going to have a balanced attack with a dominant defense, and they should already be getting that into his brain right now.
Absolutely. I 100% agree, but we'll see if it actually happens when he comes back, because you know how it is. A lot of times when the starting quarterbacks come back, they start having them sling it all over the place, and
they want to get paid. That's what it is.
I get it. So now we're going to jump over to the Sunday night game. We got Cincinnati versus Baltimore. Baltimore actually ended up winning this one 19-17.
Everybody's off the Cincinnati bandwagon again?
I think so.
We'll see. And let's just get something clear. Yep. ESPN is now all over Lamar Jackson's nutsack, but they trashed him the entire offseason because he did his own private workout. So for those of you who actually follow sports, like really follow sports, nobody's buying that bullshit either. They don't like Lamar Jackson. They just like the way he's playing right now. And at first they liked him. Then they moved away from him. They criticized him. He comes out, is making them look like a-holes because he's playing well. Yep. And now they're all over his nutsack again. So ain't nobody buying that. Yep. But look, Joe Burrow, again, we talked about it. I said it last week. The Ravens have a lot of guys out on defense. Mm-hmm. When they start getting guys back, they're going to be another one of those top 10 defenses. And if Lamar Jackson can stay healthy and throw the ball well, they're another team that's dangerous. So we'll just have to wait and see.
And
It's a long season.
Yeah, exactly. And this was a good matchup because both defenses did pretty well, holding the Cincinnati offense to 17 and Cincinnati defense holding Baltimore offense to 19. Those are two pretty high-powered offenses, and neither team could get 20 points. So,
but they're also a division rival. They
Yeah.
play each other every year, twice a year, and usually these games, for the most part, are close. Whether it's high scoring or low scoring, they're usually pretty close. They know each other well. So,
Agreed. All in all, good Sunday night game overall.
yes.
Now we're going to jump over to the Monday night game, which was another one that was pretty entertaining to watch. You had the Las Vegas Rams versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City ended up winning this game 30-29. But let me tell you something, man. You had the Raiders leading this game 17-0, pretty much entering the second quarter or the beginning of the second quarter. Derek Carr was running for his life most of that game. His offensive line looked like they couldn't block for anything. The Raiders running back Jacobs had a good game. And how about Kelsey with 4 touchdowns? 4 for a tight end in one game. There's some tight ends to get that in an entire season. This guy had it in one game on a Monday night game.
He's a beast.
Yeah.
He's a beast. He's a beast. But this is another game that is surrounded by controversy, and it's bad for the league. And we're going to see this as the season goes on. Right now, there's a lot of fans that their teams haven't been affected by these rule changes. Some are calling it the Tua effect. It's garbage. It has nothing to do with Tua. The investigation came out, by the way. We'll get that when we get to my team real quick. But actually, I can say it right now. The investigation came out, nothing. If I was that independent neurologist that got fired, I'd be suing the league right now.
Absolutely.
He did nothing wrong. The Dolphins did nothing wrong. It was nothing but a slander. It was just a hit job on the Dolphins organization. And it's the more that comes out, the more obvious. For those of you who think that, oh, you're making excuses. No, dude. There's a reason why I've been saying the NFL stands for a noticeably fixed league.
Yeah.
And this is, and they're not even trying to hide it anymore. But look, this is another game surrounded by controversy. Raiders fans are irate.
Mm-hmm.
Another roughing the passer call that sealed the win for the Chiefs, I guess. But it was a good game. It was entertaining. Derek Carr actually played well, had a quarterback rating 110, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 241 yards. He got help from his running game.
Yeah.
They ran 24 times. They threw 30 times.
Yeah, Jacobs did really well in this game, dude. The running back for the Raiders. He had a good game.
It's just like, look, if your team has a superstar quarterback, this is a reoccurring thing you're going to see as the season goes on. And they're not even trying to hide it anymore.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, though, real quick, I got to say. The Raiders ended up losing this game. They ended up losing this game. And it's, in my opinion, part of it was because at the end of the game, when they scored the touchdown, instead of going for the extra point to tie it, where it would have been 30-30 going into overtime, they went for 2. Now, would you have done that? Would you have gone for 2 late in the
Not on the road.
No, right?
Not on the road.
I couldn't believe what I saw. I mean, you're a team. You were 1-3 at that time. You just scored the touchdown to tie the game. All you have to do is kick the extra point to tie it. You decide. I think there was about 4 minutes left in the game. You decide to go for 2, and you blew it. So, and even then, they still ended up getting the ball back, I believe, and they had a chance to even come down and take the win. And they couldn't do it. So right there, I mean, people can talk about penalties all they want. Realistically, if you just kick that extra point, it's 30-30 and you go into overtime, most likely. Right. So I couldn't believe this. Josh McDaniels, I don't know, man.
This is not his first go round. This is his second go round. We talked about this before. But to touch on the point that you just made, look, penalties, it's all fun and games when it doesn't affect your team, when it affects your team and eventually affects everybody. Unless you're on the league's golden list. It's not going to really look. It's one of two things. You either have a superstar quarterback and you're on the league's golden list, or you have an average to good quarterback and you have a dominant defense in a running game. And at that point, the league is just going to be like, okay, you're going to be one of the teams that we don't really care, but you're going to be in the playoffs because your defense in your running game is just that damn good and there's nothing we can do about it. That would be obviously blatantly obvious, which this new protocol is going to start to hurt teams, even like yours, that have great defenses, because they're going to start. Listen, if you're going to start holding players out, you better expand the 53-man roster to like 80.
Yeah.
Telling you that right now.
Now, the only thing I got to say is if the NFL is rigged, do you think they can maybe rig my team to win the Super Bowl this time?
You got 5. Don't complain.
Come on, I want to win one. All right.
You have won 5. Don't complain.
So let's do you want to do your team first or you want to go to mine?
No, go to yours. Go to yours.
Okay. So San Francisco ended up beating Carolina 37-15. This obviously made me very happy for multiple reasons. One was because we obviously we were the only team in the West for the NFC that ended up winning, which puts us at the top of the division. And the other thing too is that this was the kind of game that I was talking about. Jimmy Garoppolo managed and did just enough, no mistakes, did what he had to do. The running game took over, and so did the defense. Very, very happy. This is what I want from the Niners moving forward. Thoughts?
They had good balance. They threw 30 times, which is more than what you would like to see, according to you. You wouldn't want to see him throw more than 21 times, but which I told you that's not realistic because he's a better quarterback than that. Right. But look, on a serious note, they threw 30 times, but they ran 29.
I'll take it, dude.
That's very good balance for 153 yards.
Yep.
And you're missing one of your starting running backs. So, and again, the defense had another pick 6.
Yep.
So that's a touchdown right there. Look, we talked about this. If Garoppolo can stay healthy and just not turn the ball over, but the problem with quarterbacks like this is when the games get a little bit more difficult, he's going to turn the ball over. You just have to overcome those turnovers because that's just who he is.
Yeah.
But is Jimmy Garoppolo a bad quarterback? No, I think he's a good quarterback. He's a game manager, but you need to go with what wins you games. And for you guys, it's defense and running game.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback or anything. It's just don't force him to be what he's not. He's not Peyton Manning. Let's not have him throw, 35, hell, even 30, to be honest with you. But I'll take it this week because they ran 29. But 35, 40, I don't even want to see him anywhere near 50. This guy does not need, that's not his game. This is a running and defensive team. Let's just stick with that.
And let me just add this.
Go ahead.
They run the ball effectively every week. They just don't get enough carries sometimes. But in this game, they got the carries. They had the running game really going, right? Mm-hmm. And why did Garoppolo look so good in this game? The play action. Exactly. That's what he does well.
Yeah, which you did say. You did say that last week.
He throws good on the play action, especially over the middle. Mm-hmm. He throws in rhythm, but you got to get the running game involved early and often, and it will set up the pass. That's how you guys are going to win games and could even win a Super Bowl.
Agreed.
I said it last week, and I'm going to say it again. If freaking Trent Dilfer can win a Super Bowl,
yep,
and Brad Johnson, who was on par with Jimmy Garoppolo, just a little bit bigger, mm-hmm. Jimmy Garoppolo can win a Super Bowl in this league. He's in the right place, right time. Now's the time. Right. If he wants to get paid or continue to make the money that he was making or get that big payday again, this is the year to get paid, Jimmy.
Agreed.
It's the year to get paid.
Agreed. So now that's it for my team. So we're going to jump over to your team now. Miami Dolphins versus the New York Jets. The Jets ended up winning this game 40-17, but the score is very, very deceitful. Thoughts? I know you got plenty of them.
No, let's see look.
This game was closer than that. This was not this.
It was 19-17 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Miami missed the field goal that would have put them up 20-19, and it's like the wind went out of the sails completely.
Yeah. And
this is where I'm going to say I saw a lot of Dolphins fan on Twitter and YouTube on the live streams for the games saying we were down to our third-string quarterback, which we should have never been down to our third-string quarterback. You watched the replay over and over again with me before we even started this segment.
Yes.
He did not. The spotter that said that he wobbled when he got up is either a Jets fan or a Jets fan and gambled on that game and probably won a lot of money after the Jets won that game.
Yeah, he didn't wobble. He didn't wobble.
He was not concussed. That was not a freaking safety. No. And the league clearly has a massive erection. Ron Burgundy, you got a massive erection for the Dolphins, and you're going to make an example of them. So, but I'm going to say this, though. I'm not going to the league clearly doesn't like this organization amongst others, but right now they're focusing on them clearly. Why are we not talking about every 3 games in a row, whatever, that the Miami starting quarterbacks get absolutely leveled right at the beginning of the game, and they're not investigating any of this crap? The independent investigation found that Miami did nothing wrong. Mm-hmm. Look, if I'm the Dolphins, I'm filing a lawsuit against the NFL and for defamation. If I'm that independent a neurologist, I'm filing a lawsuit against the NFL. This was an absolute hit job on this organization. It's disgusting. Moving that aside, a lot of fans were saying, we're down to our third string quarterback, which we shouldn't have. But come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on. Mike McDaniel and company, you got to be prepared better than this, man. Your defense is not tackling well. Your defense was playing okay. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, the fact that you really only gave up 17 points in going into the fourth quarter, that's not saying much against a bad Jets team, which, by the way, the coverage after the game on ESPN, they're just flying around and making plays and having fun. The Jets are awful. They're not very good. Yeah. And the way they were celebrating, like they looked like they had won a playoff game, we'll see you in December, and hopefully we're completely healthy on both sides of the ball. And when we hang 50 on you, we'll have the last laugh, because the Jets are not a better team than the Dolphins at all. It's not even close. It's not even close.
And that's what I mean. The way that this season is, there's games like I told you before. I think my team should be undefeated right now. And next week we're going to go face Atlanta. I think we should beat them too. So my team, with the 2 losses we shouldn't have had. So who knows?
And I'm going to say this. Weird. I'm clearly Teddy Bridgewater was not concussed. He should have played in that game. I believe if he played in that game, I don't think Miami blows them out, but I think Miami wins the game, because if you watch, for those of you who wanted Skylar Thompson, are you kidding me? This kid's not ready.
No, he's not ready. I
said it before, and I was vindicated. I was proven right. He's not ready. But the coaching staff owns some ownership for this loss. They completely lost control. They didn't make adjustments in the game when Skylar Thompson shouldn't have thrown 33 times. Yeah. Mostert had 18 carries for 113 yards. That is pretty good.
That's pretty good.
That's over 6 yards a carry. You should have kept feeding him the ball, run the ball, and he should not have thrown 33 times. He should have kept him right around 20. Look, Bill Belichick took the Packers to overtime with his third string rookie quarterback.
Yep.
It's called good coaching.
Yeah.
Mike McDaniel has deserved to get some credit. He's been under a lot of pressure with that whole sham of the concussion thing. But I'm sorry, you got to take the bad with the good. And Mike McDaniel, your defensive coordinator's got to go, and you didn't get this team. You didn't do a good enough job keeping this team focused to win this game. They were in this game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and it's not like you went from first string quarterback to third. It's not like the first guy got hurt and the second guy got hurt. Now you're with the third. It went from second to third. So it's like you should have been at least a little bit more prepared for that.
They shouldn't have thrown 33 times.
Agreed.
And the defense, the running game did their part. The defense didn't. And that's got to fall on the coaching. I'm sorry. For all you Dolphins fans that want to say, look, Belichick's doing it with a third string quarterback. I don't want to hear that crap. This is also, it's the league, but it's also Mike McDaniel and company. They did a horrible job.
Yeah.
I'm leaving it at that.
Now the thing is, who do you guys play next week?
The Vikings. If Skylar Thompson is playing, they're not winning that game.
Okay, so you're thinking most likely another loss for you, especially if Skylar Thompson's playing.
Yes.
Okay. So I think my team against Atlanta will win. That's my prediction. Now we're going to jump over to the standings if you're good and ready for that.
Sure.
Okay, here we go. So we're going to do the AFC East. We got Buffalo 4-1, Jets 3-2, Dolphins 3-2, Pats 2-3. Any thoughts?
I think if the Dolphins don't get healthy quick and Mike McDaniel doesn't do what Brian Flores did and get these guys back on, because they've had a lot of adversity here the last 2-3 weeks.
Yep.
He's got to get these guys refocused. If he doesn't, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
It's going to be another typical season for the Dolphins. The Patriots are going to climb. The Jets, that's a fluke 3-2. They're not very good. Right. They're still young, and I don't think Zach Wilson's very good.
Yep.
And, of course, we all know about Buffalo because they force-feed it down our throats.
Yeah, but Buffalo's a beast of a team, so there you go.
They are good, but they also force-feed it down our throats.
Yeah. Now we're going to jump over to the AFC North. We got the Ravens 3-2. We got the Browns 2-3. The Bengals 2-3, and the Steelers 1-4. Honestly, I'm not really surprised. This is pretty much how I expected this division to go.
And again, if Deshaun Watson comes back, he's gonna play 7 games?
Yes.
If they're within a game or two, oh boy,
I know.
This is going to be an interesting division right here between the Ravens, the Browns, and the Bengals.
Yeah, I mean the Browns were like what, one play away from being 3-2 and right there with Baltimore. So that's going to be a good division to watch. We're going to jump over to the South now. We have the Titans at the top. The Titans at the top, 3-2. The Colts 2-2-1. Jacksonville 2-3, and then the Texans 1-3-1.
Jacksonville.
Yeah, that was a bad loss for them. That was big.
If you're going to be a team on the rise, you got to be. I know I said it last week. Young teams will be up and down, but you got to be. You got to be a little bit more consistent. And Trevor Lawrence, jury's still out on him. Tennessee is still. Look, as long as they have steady Ryan there, Tannehill, and the running game, if they can add a receiver at the trade deadline, Tennessee's still the team to beat in this division until somebody proves me up wrong. They are.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, Jacksonville, you can't lose, especially to a division rival like that, and give them the first win. You can't.
No.
So now we're going to jump over to the AFC West. We got the Chiefs 4-1, the Chargers 3-2, the Broncos 2-3, and the Raiders 1-4. I mean, I thought it was going to be Chiefs and Raiders at the top, and the Raiders continue to just plummet and hang out at the bottom of the division.
Josh McDaniels is done. He's never going to get another head coaching job. He should have stayed in New England as the offensive coordinator.
Yeah,
look, some coordinators just aren't made to be head coaches. They're not cut out for it. They're good coordinators, but that's all they are. And I think Josh McDaniels, maybe he can get this turned around, but man, the odds at 1-4 making the playoffs, especially in this division with the Chargers and the Chiefs, they're not very good, man. They're not.
No. And I think it's like single-digit percentage at that point.
Yep.
Now we're going to jump over to the NFC. We got the Eagles, the NFC East. Eagles 5-0, Cowboys 4-1, Giants 4-1, and then the Commanders 1-4.
When Dak Prescott comes back, this is the Cowboys division to lose. I think they have a superior defense. The Eagles defense is good, but the Cowboys defense is almost reminiscent to your team's defense. They're suffocating. And when you get Dak Prescott back, their starting quarterback, a Pro Bowl quarterback, with that running game, if they can continue the balance even when Dak comes back, I still think they're the best team in that division. I don't care what the Eagles record says right now. What matters is that what it says at the end of the season.
Yeah, but here's the thing, dude. I'm starting to have a tough time overlooking the Giants. They're kind of proving me a little something. I'm not saying they're going to go to the Super Bowl or anything, but 4-1, and then you beat Green Bay this past week. I mean,
I don't think I think the Giants are well coached, and I think that they'll be there. But I think that the quarterback is a glaring weakness for them, and I think that's why you ain't getting the Giants, the Cowboys, and the Eagles in the playoffs from this division. I don't think that's going to happen. Okay. So I think it's going to come down to the Eagles and the Cowboys, and I think the Cowboys are going to win it. Okay,
sounds good. So now we're going to jump over to the North. We got the Vikings 4-1, the Packers 3-2, the Bears 2-3, and the Lions 1-4.
Vikings looking a little bit more consistent. So, and the Packers, Aaron Rodgers looks like he should be home braiding his ponytail. So that's what it is.
Yeah, the Vikings look good. It looks like they're going to probably take that division at this rate.
Never know.
Yep. So then we're going to jump over to the South. We got the Buccaneers 3-2, the Saints 2-3, the Falcons 2-3, and the Panthers 1-4. Once again, the Buccaneers stay at the top. It's their division to lose.
Controversial win, but they are still at the top, and it is what it is. And nothing that's out of the ordinary here. But Carolina did fire their head coach, did they not?
Yes, they did, and I think coordinator too.
Yeah, I believe so. I know about the coach, but I know he got fired, and I think he should, because I think the Panthers have some talent there. I think I think they might be misusing Baker Mayfield a little bit. He seems a little frustrated, but we'll see what happens. Yeah,
so still Buccaneers division to win, right?
I think
to lose. To lose. Yeah. All right, so that leaves us with just one division left, and that's mine.
Hold on. Before you go to your division, though, I will say this: if Andy Dalton can give that stability to the Saints with Alvin Kamara back and stuff like that, they might, with Tampa Bay being this average, the Saints start to get some wins here with Andy Dalton.
Yeah,
I wouldn't just give this to Brady just yet.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, you're right. They have won the 2 games. They're one game behind, and it has looked like a different team once Andy Dalton stepped in. So, yeah. All right, so now we're going to jump over to the West, and we got the 49ers 3-2, the Rams 2-3, the Cardinals 2-3, and Seattle 2-3. So
listen, I'm not going to change it. I still think this is the 49ers division to win, and I think they will win it. But I think it's going to be a dogfight with all. Seattle's not that bad, man. Geno Smith has played well, and if he continues to play like that, they're going to be right there. I think Arizona will be right there, and of course the Rams. Excuse me. And I said this in week 1 and week 2. They don't look the same. But that defense, and you just feel like Matthew Stafford will eventually start to come around and play at the level that they expect him to. So they will be right there just because their defense, and I guess they can run the ball. But I still think it's the 49ers division. But I do think it'll be close.
Yeah. I think that's going to be a dogfight, much like the East will be. I mean, Dallas held them to 10 points this past week. So, I don't know, man. That's a high-powered offense to be held to only 10.
But Dallas's defense ain't no slouch.
Yeah, no, you're right.
There ain't no slouch, dude. They've been holding everybody that they've been playing down. So
yeah. So I mean, obviously, me personally, I'm very happy with it. I still think we should be undefeated along with the Eagles. I think we shouldn't have lost those 2 games, but ifs and buts. So that's it.
Listen, we could also sit here and say Miami should have won the Cincinnati game, but you know, 2 cheap shot hits back to back took out our starting quarterback. Then the Jets took out our backup quarterback. So look. I will say, I will leave it with this, guys. If you're an NFL fan, or regardless of what team, you should be worried about what's going on in this league right now. I think this league feels like they're too big to fail. They're not even trying to hide the fact that they're favoring certain teams over others. It's a star quarterback-driven league, and they're not even trying to hide who they want there at the end. Yeah, they're going to sprinkle in some teams that have just really, like 49ers, have an average to good quarterback, but there's not much they can do about that. Your defense is just that damn good. Your running game is just that damn good. So they can't keep everybody out, but they're definitely favoring certain franchises over others, especially catering to the ones that have the franchise quarterbacks. And I think it's a disservice. And if they're not careful, you might be the XFL of the first go around, because this league is, unless you're going to increase the roster count and raise the salary cap, this rule they're implementing that people are calling the Tua rule, saying the Tua rule. It's
only because he was the first one that got affected by it. That's why.
Right. But this is a thing. This is this. The NFL has got like, they see it that, yes, this is our chance to, now we can take guys out and say you can't play because you stumble even when they don't. Yeah. And just make it that much easier for them to cater to certain teams and phase out others. That's just what I think. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts on it is I agree with the whole they have to up the roster, because you're right. If they're going to start having people up in balconies and stuff watching and just claiming people are potentially wobbling or whatever, and they're pulling people out of games, that 53-man roster is not going to be big enough. I'm not saying that they shouldn't do it, because I understand they're doing it for player safety or whatever. Great. But yeah, you got to expand that roster then. Every team needs, 4 or 5 quarterbacks ready to go, because let's be honest, a lot of the positions that are going to get, concussion issues is going to be the running back, the quarterback, and potentially receivers. I mean, that's
no, man. You'd be surprised how many linemen have concussions, but they don't talk about those. You want to know why?
Right.
Because they're not superstars.
Right. And it's easier to hide that.
If we're going to be serious about player safety, go back to the 16 game, eliminate the regular season game, to get rid of the Thursday night games.
Yep.
And increase the roster, go from 53 to 70 or whatever, so that way teams have more wiggle room if you're going to hold players out like this, because this is going to be a watered down league if you start doing this across the board, which eventually you're going to have to, because if you're going to have double standards for quarterbacks like Tom Brady and Justin Herbert, if they're wobbling and leave them in games, I mean, you're already seeing it already after this weekend. There's a lot of outrage, and it's not just based on Dolphins fans. Raiders fans are livid, and the fans from other teams are livid. So they're not too big to fail, and they better be careful. And for me, look, I watched it happen to the NBA, so it can happen to them.
My only thing is, here's what I'll say. I agree with you with the up in the roster. Absolutely. I don't want to get rid of the extra game. I think the extra game benefits most people and most teams financially and all that. So I'm okay with leaving the extra game in. I agree with up in the roster. I agree with getting rid of the Thursday night game. And I think they need to get rid of turf. Turf needs to be gone from the NFL. Turf is not safe. It hurts players more than anything. A lot of torn ACLs and stuff happen on turf fields. They need to get rid of that crap. That's garbage. They need to get rid of it.
That's a very good point. It's a very good point. Very good point. The turf's got to go.
Yeah, turf
definitely got to go.
Yeah. Yep. And but other than that, I mean, I mean, when we break it down, are you
going to sit here? I look. I know your team's got a down on D. Are you going to sit here as a person I've known you my whole life?
Yeah.
Really quick, and we'll leave it at this.
Sure.
Are you going to sit here? Are you going to tell me you don't see the bias in what's going on with the NFL right now?
Oh no, yeah, I do. I absolutely. Like I
was going to say if you said no, yeah, I was going to be like, you're either ball busting me or you're just happy because it hasn't affected your team yet, and don't get too comfortable with that because it could come.
Hey, my team lost their starting quarterback for the year.
That was actually a good thing.
Well, hey, I'm just saying. Technically, we're on our backup too, but
he should have been the starter all along. Come on, man.
Yeah,
he's the better quarterback.
I know. Out of all seriousness, though, yeah, there is definitely. I hate to say it though, I really do, because I like to live in the world where I like to think everything is played out the way it's supposed to be played out, especially in sports. But it is tough to see. Like we had talked off camera earlier, how Tom Brady with the Bucks against Atlanta got there was a roughing the passer call on that, and the Atlanta Falcons defensive lineman barely touched him. I mean, when you see stuff like that, it's like,
no,
it's a bad call. But in the same sense, with what happened to the NBA back in the 90s, you said, where that referee got arrested
for fixing games that the league told him to fix.
Exactly. So and like that.
Yeah. And back then the NBA was huge. Yeah. They were huge. And they thought that they could do no wrong. So if the NFL thinks that they can't do any wrong, look at the NBA.
Yeah. And that's what makes me wonder. It's like when we see these things where the refs make bad calls, how much of that is actually the refs and how much of that is someone, whether it be the NFL or gambling or whatever,
it's both
influencing.
The gambling is all interconnected with, it is. It's the gambling. It's the league. Yeah. It's who the league wants in the playoffs based on the gamble, like what people are betting on. They all interconnect. But I'm going to say this. If you don't think that this is happening, man, you need to wake up. And I'm not talking about you per se. People need to wake up. And a lot of people, the ratings are down already in the NFL each of the last 3 years. And based on the outrage I saw this weekend, it's only going to get worse. It's happening. And I'm going to leave it with this. How do you have instant replay and still get calls wrong?
I know. It's so bad.
Right here.
Yeah.
I'm not making excuses for the Dolphins game. The Dolphins deserved to lose the game because they were poorly coached, poorly prepared. They didn't make adjustments in the game when Teddy Bridgewater went down, which he should have never been taken out of that game because he does not stumble.
Right.
But nonetheless, that's the hand you were dealt as a professional head coach and your defensive coordinators. You got to make adjustments and say, okay, look, we're not going to, we got to run the ball. And they were running the ball well. But again, when another field goal missed, which I really feel like the team just was like, okay, forget it. Because if you remember at the time, it was 19-17. If he makes that field goal, they're up by 1. That might actually put a little pep in their step, saying, even though we have the third string quarterback, we actually just took the lead. That might have actually flipped it. And but regardless, if you're a player on that team and you respect your coach, even though he missed that field goal, you never quit on your head coach. They would never do that to Bill Belichick because they know they would probably never see the field again.
Right.
So Mike McDaniel's got it. He's got some work to do here, boy. He's got some work to do.
Agreed. Well, I got nothing else, man. You're all set. Awesome.
I'm all set.
Awesome. All right. So thank you guys very much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let us know if there's any teams you want us to talk more about or anything. And that's pretty much it. Stay safe out there, guys. Catch you on the next one.
Peace.
Later.